Hello BookTube, my name is Elizabeth and welcome to another video here on the Owlry. Thank you so much for watching. Before I get started with my weekly wrap-up, I do want to remind you guys to make sure to follow all of my social media links. I post a ton on Twitter and Goodreads and Snapchat, and all of those links are down below, and I would just love to connect with you guys somewhere other than BookTube. But now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's get started with my wrap-up. So I read 4 things this week and they just all happen to be graphic novels. I am in the middle of reading a book, but I've just been reading it throughout the week and I'm not finished with it. First graphic novel that I read is the 13th issue of Descender. This is, the story is by Jeff Lemire and the art is done by Justin Nguyen. And this story is about a robot named Tim21, and I don't know if I can find a picture of him because he's supposed to be like a 10-year-old boy, and he's like a companion android kind of for children or the elderly to kind of just help out. And why am I not seeing any pictures of him in this issue? I know he's in here somewhere. Oh, that's because this is a backstory issue. I forgot this is her backstory. So he's not in this because it's her backstory. But anyway, this follows Tim21, a boy android companion, and several decades ago, the world of Descender had completely eradicated androids and robots of any kind because they were starting to have intelligence and, you know, making decisions on their own and just getting kind of dangerous. They destroyed all the androids and Tim21 is the only one left. And I'm really enjoying this series. I feel like it's getting down to the end of this segment. Like they do it in every 5 comics they kind of take a break, 5 or 6 comics, and most comic series are like that. Every 5 or 6 they take a break for a couple of months, and so it's getting kind of to the end of this segment, and so I feel like it's kind of winding down for something big that's going to happen. So this issue wasn't necessarily my favorite, but I love this series as a whole. You can get the first 2 bind-ups of Descender right now at your library or the comic book store or something like that. I really recommend it if you're a huge science fiction fan, or if you like the android robot becoming sentient and being able to think on their own. If you really like stories like that, this is definitely up your alley. A really good series. Then I picked up the 6th issue of Insects, and this is set in Victorian England, and it's about these 2 women. One is like the lady of a manor, and the other one is her maid or lady-in-waiting, I guess, and they realize that they have this power to become like insect beasts. I wonder if I can find you like a good picture of what they look like. Yeah, like this is one of them. She kind of like has like spidery things coming out of her back, and they are actually lesbians, and they create, because they are like these insect beasts, they create a child, and so they're trying to like protect themselves because they can transform into these beasts and become dangerous sometimes, and they're also trying to protect their child that they created, which is kind of like a monstrosity, you know. And so in this comic issue is extremely sexual, very, very sexual, very adult content. Definitely not for anyone under the age of 18, and I really enjoyed this series because of that. I mean, the story is done by Marguerite Bennett and the art is done by Ariella Christiana, and so both women, and it's a lesbian comic series, and the art I just think is beautiful, and so that's what really attracted me to the series, you know, lesbians, and it's written by both women, and the art is done by a woman, and so it's just like very much girl power, and I was just on board as soon as I saw this. But the story is just not grabbing me into this 6th issue. Like, I don't know, every issue just seems more and more boring. I really like their relationship and stuff, but other than that, I'm not really interested. I don't know, it's a little confusing too. This is definitely not a good starter if you're just trying to get into comics, because the way that they do the different panels is just a little confusing, and for me, I've been reading comics for a long time and it's just a little bit beyond me, and so I'm hoping that the next issue is really good. If we get to issue 10 and it's still not wowing me, I'm probably gonna cancel my subscription for this one, but I did enjoy it in the beginning, so maybe if you think this sounds like a really, really cool concept that you're wanting to check out, definitely give it a go. You know, these are only like $2.99 or something. That's why I love comic issues, because they're so cheap, and you can just, you know, they only come out once a month, and, you know, I get about 3 or 4 every single month, and it only ends up being like $10, and I get a great story out of it. So it's worth it for the money to kind of check it out and see if you do enjoy it. And I really did like it in the beginning. It's just losing steam for me, and I'm hoping it gets better, but I guess we'll have to find out. Then I picked up the 8th issue of Tokyo Ghost. This is, the story is by Rick Remender. The art is by Murphy. I can't remember his first name. And then I think the coloring is done by a man named Hollingsworth, which I think just sounds so British and posh. Hollingsworth. But I think he does the coloring. But anyway, this story is about, it follows these 2 main characters. Ted Dent, I believe is his name. And then, Debbie, and in the first issue of this series you find out that the world has basically gone to complete and total crap. It's near unlivable. The air is just not breathable. There's not fresh food or water or anything like that, and everyone in this world is addicted to technology. You can inject these like bots into you that literally connects you to the internet and technology 24/7, and so our main character Teddy is addicted to this injectable technology, and it's literally like meth. He's just constantly addicted to it, and it overtakes his life, and it's just it's very reminiscent of a very hard injectable drug. And I don't know anything about drugs, so I don't know if you can inject meth, but you know, it just reminds me of a very serious drug issue, what he has, this addiction to technology and injecting the bots into you. Basically, the first couple issues follows Ted as he is trying to recover from this addiction and be completely tech-free, and they realize that there is a city called Tokyo that has become a tech-free haven, and they have clean food and clean water, and they're farming, and they're just trying to turn life around. And so they're looking for this city of Tokyo where they can go to this tech-free haven and kind of like start a new life, and stuff happens. It's so good, and this relationship between the 2 main characters just pulls on my heartstrings. This is my OTP right now. I am not reading a series that has a more lovable relationship, and I love them. This specific episode was so heavy on their relationships and the problems that they had in the past and the problems that they had right now, and my heart, I cried. I've never had a comic series make me cry, and this is just so good. If you are a fan of science fiction and you just love that ultimate love story, this is it. You really need to try it. You can actually get the first bind up of the first 6 issues right now at your local comic store or the library. So definitely check this out because it's so good, you guys. Like, that relationship though, and then the world is just beautiful. I'm not a big fan of the art, and I really feel like if I showed you any of these pages, it would be like a huge spoiler. Well, this is a flashback, so this shouldn't be too bad, but every page has like this color scheme. Like this one is mostly greens and blues, and then they'll have ones that, you know, they're so nice. And I love that we got some backstory on Teddy and Debbie when they were little, and it's just, read it, you guys, read it. And the last thing that I read this week was Saga Volume 6, and oh my god, it was so good. I am really, really happy that I reread Saga Volumes 1 through 5 this year before this one came out, because I definitely forgot a lot of things, and I can't really say much. I mean, I'll give you the synopsis of the first volume because this is the best comic for adults. It does have some adult content. It's not as bad as like Insects or some other comics that I read, but there is some adult content in this, so, you know, just to be forewarned. But basically, this moon and a planet are at war with one another, and there's 2 different species living on each planet, and they basically hate each other. Like, it's a huge kind of race war, and they're very much against one another. And our main female character was in the military, and she was kind of like looking after this group of prisoners that they had for prisoners of war, and it's a guy and a girl, and they meet and they fall in love, and they're from these 2 different races basically, and it's very kind of like a Romeo and Juliet thing, but not really, and they end up having a baby. And so the whole story is told from that baby's perspective when she's in the future and she's grown up, and it's really good, like seeing, why am I forgetting her name right now? I don't know why I can't remember the little girl's name at the moment. Like, I'm just drawing a complete blank, but the little girl is just so cute, and like her narrating her story as a baby and then a little girl in this version, in this volume, she is in kindergarten, and it's just so good. This is a great starter if you're trying to get into graphic novels and comics. And like I said, the first 6 issues are out, and every library that I've ever been to has a copy of this. If not, you can definitely request it and they'll probably get it for you. But this is really good, definitely worth the money. The first bind up is only $9.99, and then all the other bind ups after that are $14.99, but it's really worth it. I love this series so much. It's a great starter, and just the story is amazing. I can't find any faults with this story. Like, I mean, our main female character, the mom, really pissed me off in like volume 4, and then the guy really pissed me off in volume 5, 4 and 5-ish, but like, what a good series puts their main characters through trials and tribulations and kind of shows their true colors. Like, I like that they're not perfect either, so it was really interesting being upset at these main characters that I've loved for so many issues. But yes, really good. And then the ending, oh my god guys, the ending, like, I wonder if I can, no, I probably can't. Like, I wanna, yeah, no, I can't show you the last page because it'll give it away, but it's so good. Like, oh my god, if you guys haven't caught up, if you have read this series and you haven't caught up and not read volume 6 yet, you need to read it because it's amazing. And then last week when I left you up, I told you that I was reading The Sleeping Prince by Melissa Salisbury. I am obviously still reading The Sleeping Prince. I've gotten a little bit farther. I'm on page 186. I didn't think I was that far, but I planned on finishing it this weekend, but then like I had last minute plans and I had to go out of town and I just didn't have time to read or do anything like that, especially because I'm trying to take notes and be more vigilant about what I'm reading and, you know, for my reviews and everything like that. So I'm definitely going to finish this tonight or tomorrow because I was out of town. I'm also really behind on blogging and watching everyone else's booktube videos, and it's the first day of Veda, so I really need to catch up. I'm not participating in Veda, by the way, but this video is really rambly, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it. I'm really enjoying this so far. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you guys have read any of these comics, please let me know, especially Descender, Insects, and Tokyo Ghost, because, you know, I just don't have a lot of friends who are really big on single issue comics, so if you've read any of those, let me know in the comments below and we can talk about it, because I'm like really big on my comics right now. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!